Hey guys, it's me, Devin Harrington, the average Gen Xer, back at you with another video. Thanks for clicking on this video today. If this is your first time seeing my face, I am super glad that you stopped by. I would absolutely be your friend forever if you would hit that subscribe button, click the like, leave a comment, let me know where you're watching from. I would super appreciate it. So I make content on this channel on a couple of different topics, and today we're going to be taking a stroll back over to the Regretful Parents subreddit, which is absolutely chock full of stories that serve as a cautionary tale. So as always, please remember that my posts about people who regret having kids are not in any way meant to mock or disrespect the pain that these folks are going through due to the fact that they are not loving parenthood, but rather to just highlight the experiences of people who have found out the hard way that having kids is not the gloriously fulfilling validation that society and the media often make it out to be. I am a child-free person. I am one of those people that's at the far end of the spectrum where I absolutely from birth knew never wanted kids of my own, never needed to have kids, although I have dogs. I'm a dog mama. I have a horse. I am absolutely mama to my animals. But there are some people who don't even want animals. And then there are people at the other end of the spectrum who absolutely want to be parents, and they know from the minute that they're born that having kids is their jam, and good for them. Those are the people that should be having kids because they want to nurture them and they want to be good parents. But the vast majority of people are kind of somewhere in the middle where they're sort of on the fence, especially nowadays. Nobody needs to have 15 kids in order to run the family farm, or at least the vast majority of people don't. And so, with the way the economy is and all blah, 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 y'all know the reasons why people shouldn't be having kids in today's world. But the majority of people are on the fence. And it's for those folks, if they could just hear some of these horror stories from regretful parents, perhaps they would stop and think for a minute before they get themselves into something that they can never, never, never change. So, let's get into it. So, our first post today from the subreddit Regretful Parents, and I don't even mention the usernames of the people who post these, but the title of this post is called "I resent my husband for forcing me to keep our baby and I don't know what to do." Forcing me to keep our baby. Sad. So, this person writes, this woman writes, "He tells me he loves me more than anyone in this world. And to that I tell him, if that were true, you would have let me have an abortion. After I told you that I didn't want to be a mother. He wanted this baby. I did not. So these folks were married and they got pregnant and she did not want children, but he did. So they probably shouldn't have been married in the first place, obviously. He knew I couldn't afford one, meaning a child. I'm on disability and we have separate bank accounts. And I would have had to travel out of state too because we live in a red state where abortion is illegal. God bless America, huh? Every day is pure torture. I resent my husband so much, and I resent my daughter, which is so fucked up because it's not her fault. She's just an innocent baby. I do my best with her, but there are times when she is fussy and screaming for hours on end, no matter what I do. And yeah, hello, that's how babies act. As I've said a million times on this channel, I am the oldest of four. I am the only girl. I was the family slave slash housekeeper slash babysitter slash parentified child. And so I took care of my younger brothers. My two twin brothers were born when I was 4, almost 4. And my other brother was born when I was 11. And I was child caring all that time. And so, yeah, babies scream. They scream, they cry, they make a mess, they're obnoxious. They're babies. They don't know any better. And so that's what you're signing up for. Maybe some people get lucky and they get a pretty, a baby that is happy, but that's rare because babies are babies. So you have to know that you're signing up for fussy screaming for hours on end. This person goes on. I just want to get in my car with my dog and drive far, far away and never come back. Dealing with this is better than the alternative, which would be to live alone in some shitty government funded apartment in the unsafe parts of town. She said that she's on disability, so she would have to go with Section 8 housing if she didn't have a husband, I guess. I would kill myself. I am no contact with my narcissistic, abusive mother, which caused my entire family to estrange me because they don't believe she abused me physically, emotionally, and verbally for decades. Ugh, poor woman. I am on 20 milligrams of Prozac, which has helped the postpartum depression a little bit, but unfortunately, a pill can't make you want a baby you simply didn't want from the beginning. My sister killed herself after she had her second baby, and I understand why. I really do. She actually did take off and leave, but the subsequent shame she faced from everyone for abandoning her family was more than she could handle. These poor women. She doesn't get into, well, I mean, other than saying that her husband forced her to keep their baby because he wanted to be a father. I mean, these women, one of them is unalived herself, and the other one wants to unalive herself because of being forced to breed. What the hell? This is the 21st century, and this is in America. She goes on. I have anorexia binge purge subtype, and my hope is that eventually my body will just give out. I'm already underweight, and I barely made it through my pregnancy. Ugh. No one will be able to say that I unalived myself. They'll just think I was mentally ill, and they're not wrong. Decades of abuse will do that to a person, and there is no amount of medication or therapy that can fix this. I've seen therapists for over a decade, and none of them have a thing to say that makes me feel better. I am haunted by my past of sexual, physical, verbal, and emotional abuse, and I am not fit to be a mother. I knew this from the beginning, and my husband didn't believe me. I am trapped. This poor girl. And she goes on to say in the comments that her husband is insistent on watching the baby overnight, every night, even on days he has to work the next day. And he does most of the work because he does feel bad, and he has said as much. I'm grateful for that, but I worry when she's older and can question why her dad is more hands on with her. And her mom takes off to go be alone in another room. I don't know what I'm going to say or do. And someone else commented, he should do most of the work. You will deal with that once you get there. Right now, take care of yourself. Your husband should feel guilty by what he put you up to deal with. He will never understand what it means to be pregnant and to have a baby. So this poor woman has Anna, the ED, and made it through a pregnancy. She says she barely made it through. She's underweight and she hates her life. She's on disability already. And her husband is working and taking care of the kid most of the time because he feels guilty for forcing her to have the baby. These two people never should have been married to begin with. I mean, not to be Captain Obvious, but and now this kid is stuck in the middle of this messy situation. It's just terrible. All of this could be prevented by not having kids. All of this could be prevented by better birth control. All of this could be prevented by federally legal, safe abortion to anyone who wants one, anyone of age who wants one. That's a whole other video. Anyway, moving on to the next story. It's called It Doesn't Get Better. And there have been a number of similarly themed posts that I've seen in these forums. Okay. It says, venting. Advice, welcome. Why do we feel it's comforting to say, it'll get better? My daughter is mid-teens, multiple disabilities, and a stage 5 Velcro clinger. I essentially signed my own death warrant when I allowed my abusive ex to pressure and guilt me into fertility treatments. I had secondary infertility. I'm not really sure what secondary infertility is. I guess I should have looked that up. The abuse would stop. It would end his insecurity because I would have proven my love. Oh, God. So she's with this piece of shit guy who tells her that the abuse will stop if she has his baby because then she will have proven her love for him. As if that ever were the case, as if the abuse ever stops when you're with someone who's abusive. Nothing stops it unless they unalive you or if you leave. Oh, God, this poor woman. She and I were stepping stones for his citizenship and immigration of his family here. So this was an anchor baby. And they even went to fertility treatments to have this baby. She goes on, she keeps me poor, meaning the baby. Never enough food because I don't have money, because for fuck's sake, toys are more important. I'm fat because I live on cheap microwavable shit and coffee. I don't get sleep. I've lost work hours. I get 8 hours of respite a fortnight every 2 weeks. And then it's me 24/7. I'm spiraling into depression. But that's okay because when I'm not depressed, I'm apathetic. The place could burn down and I wouldn't care. If you're so confident in your assurances that it gets better, tell me when. When does it get better? When do I get a life that's mine? When will this stage pass? You, with your assurances, please tell me when it gets better for me and others like me. And by others like me, she's talking about when you have a child who will never be self-sufficient, who's never going to grow up and make you proud and go find the cure for cancer and do all the great things that everybody thinks that their kid is going to do. You happen to be, you roll the dice when you have kids. And especially nowadays, it seems like everybody's on the spectrum. Everybody's neurodivergent. Every kid has some kind of problem. And because of all our poisoned air, poisoned food, poisoned water, I'm not surprised. But I digress, as I usually do. Someone else in the comments said, you are so right. Anyone that comments, it gets better, gets a multi-paragraph reply from me about why it doesn't always get better. I'm right there with you. My son is special needs. He's got the capacity of a 12 to 15-month-old child, and he's 9. Chances are it won't get better. He's in special needs school, gets therapy at school, is on aggression meds, but he still can't talk and isn't potty trained, and he's 9. I mean, people dream of having a 9-year-old son and taking them to all their karate classes and doing fun stuff with them, taking your boy fishing, taking your boy to Little League, all the cool things that 9 is a cool age for kids. But when you have a special needs kid who can't talk and isn't potty trained at 9 and has the capacity of a 1-year-old, what is your life? The load will lighten if and when he gets put in a group home. But then I will have the mental and emotional baggage that comes with my only child living away from me in a group home. And I'm actually astounded to find out that group homes still exist. I worked for the Massachusetts Department of Mental Health. When that was like my first real job when I was 19, and I worked at a group home for profoundly disabled adults, and it's closed down like many places like it. It's amazing to me that those places still exist. I'm glad that there is somewhere that people who can't take care of their disabled adult children can put them where they can get around the clock care, but geez. Okay, next post. It's called SOS. My young kids are violent and I regret having them. And there's a trigger warning for DV and narcissistic abuse. Hello, I have been separating from an abusive man since July, I'm assuming of 2023, and we have two kids, ages 4 and 5. This has brought up feelings of regret toward my kids that I have never felt before. I thought we had fun from age 0 to 4, but I'm sitting in the bathroom now because looking back, I yelled a lot, and they have turned violent because they watched their father get violent and me yelling since their birth. I spanked them a handful of times during toddler years before stumbling across conscious parenting, which is where this journey began. He used drugs frequently at newborn and gradually less, but he was never clean. And I'm not going to lie, I did at times take an extra Xanax. I tried to wait till they were at grandma's, but looking back, I was reckless a handful of times. I feel a lot of shame for that, and I know my daughter felt duty to protect her baby brother. I have been clean since they were age 2 and 3. When my daughter doesn't get her way, she will kick my back while I huddle in a corner to protect my glasses. Could you imagine this being your life? And if I lock myself in the bathroom, she lays on her back and kicks the door while screaming. That sounds fun. When I try to hug her or ask for a hug, or if she wants to sit with me to take breaths, she kicks me. Just today, I told my son to play alone. We literally went to a giant playland 2 days ago, and I went down a damn 3-story slide and played from 10 till 4. And he didn't want to play alone, so he kicked the door frame until it broke. These kids are 4 and 5. If I try to hug him or take deep breaths, he kicks me. And when I tried ignoring him, he destroys property even more. And this is when the wood frame broke today. And if I spank them, I am just repeating the cycle of violence. What is logical, natural consequences for hurting me and destroying property? My ex broke glass and more in our home, and I couldn't be there to protect them because I was a zombie and a puppet walking on eggshells for him instead of focusing on them. Boy, that sounds familiar. That sounds a lot like my stepfather breaking furniture and my mother just going along with it all because that's how she was brought up, to just do whatever the man says. And so it just continues on and on and on. And I so desperately want to give them my attention now, but I don't want to. I want more alone time. I find myself yearning for my little ones to go off to grade kindergarten, but that mindset robs them of this age and innocence. And I surely can't send him kicking shit. Crazy as that is, they are great students. The only common denominator for toxicity is me, and they didn't ask to be in this hell. Just because my hormones changed at 24 and I got pregnant, I feel a lot of regret for bringing them with me to this hellhole, and it was selfish as fuck. And I also don't want to be around them because they have bottled up emotions and take it out on me. And I take time outs frequently. I know they see and hear me do it because I fucking tell them I'm taking a time out. And sometimes they won't respect those boundaries either and come around kicking the door. It's really I made my bed and I'm going to lie in it situation, and it sucks ass. I will try better at respecting their boundaries if that helps, but holding my son's foot so he cannot break shit is not breaking a boundary, is it? Oh, good God. And then there's people in the comments like leaving government links for how to do timeouts with your kid. And, ugh. I mean, terrible, terrible, terrible. This is no way to live. No way at all. Okay, last one. I just feel sad. I feel so sad and so stuck. I got pregnant at 17 years old. Oh, Jesus. You know, I've said this before. I wish we could, and we probably could. We have such great technology these days. We should be able to come up with a thing where, like, you can make it so that no one's fertility kicks in until their late 20s at least. That would be a really great thing. So, no more teen pregnancy. I wasn't able to terminate it at the time because my good old family was so against it, which is bullshit. That's what she says. That's what she says. She did say it's right there, which is bullshit. My sperm donor told me a couple of years after I gave birth that he looked at my ovulation period app and put a small slit in the condom. Motherfucker. He said it in a joking manner in person and would never mention it again after the way I blew up at him over this. My son is actually very respectful, sweet, loving, amazing kid. I feel like I'm the problem. Yeah, because she didn't get to have a life. She didn't get to be a kid herself. 17, you're a child. I feel like I'm the problem after being in two horribly abusive relationships from the time I was 15 to 23, leaving me hospitalized. I just feel depressed, like I'm never going to pull through. I had my whole life planned out. I was going to go to college and do so much with my life. I had amazing scholarships lined up. Jeez. All of it. My baby daddy knew this, and I think that's why he got me pregnant at the beginning of my senior year of high school. Everything went to complete fucking shit after that. I got into drugs and opiates with him. Yeah, because depression. Been clean 4.5 years now, thankfully, but I just feel so dazed. That's the only way I can describe it. I do have an amazing support system, lucky for her. And I'm very blessed for that because I know a lot of other people don't. I never really wanted kids, though. I said that from a young age because I saw my parents struggle, and I also saw how much work my smaller cousins were. Sometimes I get these bursts of energy and motivation just to come down and cry myself to sleep a week later. And anxiety and depression hits me like a freight train. Does anybody know what that could mean? It happens regularly. Yeah, that's what happens regularly when you screw up your entire life just to have a baby that you don't even want. There is no going back, people. If you decide to have kids, your life is not your life anymore. Your life is your kid's life, if you're going to be a good parent. Or you could be a piece of shit and just continue to be a young person like you are. This girl could have, well, she did, had the kid anyway, and then got into drugs. And then that brings on all kinds of guilt and shame because you're somebody's mom doing drugs. I mean, there's just nothing good about it. Nothing good comes out of having kids that you're not ready for and don't want. I do plan on going back to college and finishing what I started. It just seems so far out of reach right now because it is. And with my mental state, I don't know if I should start right now. By the way, I'm really sorry this is all over the place. I'm currently having one of those come down, cry myself to sleep moments, so I apologize. I really think it's just me, but I don't know how to fix me right now. Oh, to be able to go back and just do things over again. Well, I hope those happy little stories will make someone think twice before they decide to have children. Because, in my humble opinion, unless you really absolutely 100% want to be a parent and have the resources and the money and the support of people around you, you shouldn't do it. You absolutely should not. And so many people just think that's what you're supposed to do. Still today, there's 8 billion people on the planet. It's too many. And still, we think we're just supposed to breed, be fruitful, and multiply. God will provide. Sure. Anyway, thanks for sticking around, guys. If you have stuck around, I sure appreciate it. And if you have any comments, I would love to hear them about these stories or about deciding to have kids or being child free. It's easy for someone like me to be child free because I always knew I never wanted kids, and I also was fortunate to grow up in a family that did not ever force me into trying to conform to get married, have children, kind of thing. My mom and my dad just let me be who I was, and I'm eternally grateful for that. So um, I would love to hear your experience if you are child free or not. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next video, and thank you so much for watching.